Hi, welcome to another episode of Training Them Wisely podcast. We are excited to talk to you guys today about comparison being the thief of joy. And I think as moms, we have a lot of things that can run through our heads like, are they getting enough of the right friend group? Are they doing well in their school? Oh, this one's a year ahead in reading. This one's behind a year in math. Or your kids come home and they're like, so and so has this lunchbox, so and so has this outfit, so and so has this pair of shoes. And we just want to talk to you guys about what does the Bible say about comparison, especially as we've started back in the school year. So we're excited you're tuning in with us. I'm Rebecca Messer. I'm the co-host for the Training Them Wisely podcast with our host Renee Christensen. And if you guys would just take a brief moment to give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review, because it really helps our ministry to grow and helping other parents, grandparents, and those in discipleship roles. Renee speaks at church events and conferences teaching parents and grandparents how to grow in their walk with the Lord while discipling their children and grandchildren. And the main reason for this is because authentic, loving discipleship matters. So we're glad you guys are with us today.
Yes, I am so excited to be able to talk today about how comparison, I'm going to use an even stronger word, is the killer of joy,
It is
because
the
that
killer of
really
joy.
is what happens. You can be running through your life thinking, oh, I am so grateful and joyful and everything else. And then all of a sudden something comes and smacks you. You compare it and you're like, oh, wait a second. My life isn't
Am
quite what I
I?
thought it was. I'm not feeling so joyful anymore. So the verse that we're basing this off of is one of the 10 commandments. I covered this morning in Sunday school with my kids. Exodus 20, verse 17. You shall not covet. And then it goes through your neighbor's house, wife, but it says, or anything that is your neighbor's. Anything that is your neighbor's. So as
And as
school,
we know from the parable in the New Testament, when it was the Good Samaritan and it says, who is my neighbor? We learned it's everybody is our
it's
neighbor. So
everybody.
just to be clear,
Just to be clear, it's the influencers that are saying that you need this. It's the influencers that are getting to your kids that are saying that they need everything. And then your kids are coming to you, wanting you to go above your budget to get something that somebody said that they needed. So comparison is a joy, and it's a joy killer, and it can be for your children and it can also be for you, but we wanted
yeah.
to be really specific today as it pertains to the school year and how comparison can kill our joy in the new school year. For one thing, it can kill the joy whenever we'll do children first. Whenever your child is going back to school and there could be comparing possibly the class that they were in before. They could be comparing their friends who might be in a private school
The
when they're in a
teachers
public
they had.
school. The teachers that they had could be the clothes that they want to wear that they didn't realize whenever you were buying the outfits for the beginning of the year. And then all of a sudden they get there and realize that the actual end thing is something else. And
And they
what do we
compare
do with
things,
that?
especially when your kids hit like that middle school, high school phase. I know as a girl, like you're starting to figure out so many different things and that temptation to compare yourself physically even and the bullying that can take like so
Yeah,
we as the parent have to take such a proactive stance in the discipleship of their hearts because that's where the bullying takes an ugly turn when
it does.
they start comparing themselves and their identities.
Yes. Actually, it was either in middle school or high school. We had very little money growing up. So it must have been high school. That's when we really had very little money growing up. And my parents had bought us a pair of shoes for the year. Whenever we got to school, there was a school newspaper, and the article on the front page said, avoid the person who wears these shoes.
Oh
Guess what shoes
no,
my parents had bought me?
those shoes.
Those shoes. My mom was so sad, and they actually did end up scrimping and saving to get me another pair of shoes eventually. But it was a very difficult purchase for them to have to make. It was not, when I say that we had no money, we had no money. Like it was a
Yeah.
splurge to get butter from the store type of no money. So for them to try to get me a new pair of shoes, it took a long time and it was a lot of
And
sacrifice.
as parents, we want to do things like that. Like we want our kids to be happy. We want them to
I
fit
do.
in. But you know what? I just think of sometimes, and I've had to tell my kids this, like, we are not of this world
Yes.
and we're called to be set apart. And that, no, that doesn't mean we have to be weirdos. But it does mean that we're not basing our worth
Yes.
on the external resources that we do or do not have,
No.
because God has given everybody very different talents and resources.
He has. He has. And he does it for a reason. And so also as parents, comparison can kill our joy as well. And I think an easy one, like you were saying, whenever it comes to school, is if you really want your child to be in a different school than they are in, that can be an easy one.
Hmm.
And everybody wants their child to do well in school. And if your child is struggling in an area, then that's one of those things where that comparison can start to hurt you, because there is a difference between knowing that your child is struggling in an area and being able to encourage them and being able to
Yeah,
help them to be able to do as well as they are able to do, because God made everybody fearfully and fearfully and wonderfully made, and he made no mistakes when he made them.
yeah,
I know that for my child, one of them, he really struggled to learn to read because of some disabilities that he had. And it took, I mean, we went through every reading curriculum there was, literally, that I could find, years of trying to teach him how to read. And it was incredibly difficult and even hard, not, but at the same time, I didn't let it kill my joy for him because I knew that God had made him exactly like he was supposed to be made.
yeah.
And
And I
so,
think it makes a big difference when you, as the parent, this is something that we have to be convicted of first, because it is something that will be caught. You like, yes, you can teach this to your kids, but this is an attitude that is caught with being content with the things that we have
yes,
in
yes,
whatsoever state we are, like Paul
yes,
talks about. And, for those of you who are listening and you're like, but I don't send my kid to public school. Like, we homeschool, or we go to private school, or we do, so we don't have, okay. I've been in a lot of circles, and for the homeschool moms, I've heard them go, I don't do as many arts and crafts
yes, that's the one.
as so and so. Am I a bad mom? Or we don't do 1,000 hours outside, or we do, like,
Yes.
we do
Or
do a thousand.
they get done with their school in an hour and a half. Am I hurting my children by spending 4 hours instead? How many hours should
Right.
I do? It is different for every family. Do exactly what God tells you to do and what works for your family.
And like some kids, God has gifted them in language arts, and so they're going to be much further ahead. And some children he's given that mathematical, scientific, like my husband, he can do it so fast, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, this is why we have Excel. um so just God has made everybody individually, uniquely, and wonderfully made, all in his image. And so I think when we, the parent, have our minds wrapped around, so is my child,
Yes,
and we believe in them, that can really help a lot with just the contentment that
it
comes.
can,
And
because really what I think you're describing, what came to mind there is not grumbling. And whenever we start comparing, we're also starting to grumble. So rather than being comparisons and grumbling, how can we turn it around so that it's instead encouraging, and it is instead something where we are building them up so that we are helping them through whatever it is, whatever we're going through. And like you said,
yeah,
discipleship really is, a lot of it is caught. It's what they're seeing you do. So if you are full of complaints and comparison, they're going to be full of complaints and comparison. And so my son really did not know how much he struggled to read because
you
I was
believed
very
in him,
careful with my words, and I was very careful to encourage him that he was going to be able to get it. So just doing things like that, I think, are important because we do want to be full of joy, right? The joy of the
right?
Lord is our strength. We want to rejoice every single day. That's what they talk about all the time. Paul's letters do, and so that's our what we would love to see happen this week for each of you is to just, if you notice yourself comparing, if you notice your child comparing, take a minute, stop, and remember that it is God who made your child. It is God that's provided you the resources, and there's so much to be thankful for. So whenever you start doing that comparison, turn it around to thanksgiving and gratefulness
And
instead.
it's good practice for Thanksgiving coming up in a couple of months. Like, get in that habitude, that habit and attitude of gratefulness. And just if you find your child is complaining about the things that they don't have compared to a fellow student, have them start counting all the things that they're thankful for that they have.
Yes.
And it's a good perspective change to help get focused back on tuning our heart. back towards the things that God would have us to think about.
Exactly.
So we're excited that you guys joined us today, and we hope this was an encouragement to you. You can find us on any of your favorite podcast providers as well as YouTube. And she's now got the social media thing going, guys. So give us a follow there.
Instagram,
Share.
Threads, and Facebook.
She's doing them all. I'm
And
impressed.
Etsy. Oh, tell them about the new shop
Oh,
I
yes.
opened. That's
So this
exciting.
past week, she opened up her new Etsy shop where you can find all of her products on there for the digital downloads. And she's been running some sales. So go check it out. Snag your copies of things. I just got a couple new ones for my kids this week on coloring pages. So I'm excited to do those. So we hope that you guys find these. You can also get them off of Amazon. But we hope you guys have a great week and we'll look forward to seeing you all next time. Bye for now.
Bye. Have a great week.